You're listening to the Self-Made is a Myth, Make a Difference Together show with your host, Coach Tim Campsall, where we talk with successful business owners to hear the stories of their journeys in building their successful businesses. And more importantly, we recognize the folks who help them excel because we know that achieving business success is not something we can do on our own.
Hello, everyone. This is Coach Tim Campsall, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner with us today. Something unique about my guest is she went from helping people rebuild their lives to helping them rebuild their home. And we will have her tell us a little bit more about that here in a minute. In her downtime, she loves spending it in her garden as well as her kitchen. And she's most proud of the business that has become more than a design company. It has become a movement. And again, we will have her explain that. It is my pleasure to welcome Keianna to the show today. Hi, Keianna.
Hey, how are you, Tim?
I am fantastic. Thanks for asking. Well, hey, I am super excited to hear your story today. Let's start with having you introduce yourself. So tell us your name and a little bit of your personal story.
Well, okay, I'm Keianna Harrison-Williams. I am originally from Dayton, Ohio, born and raised there. I moved to Indianapolis back in 2004 for work. I have a new husband, hence the hyphenation. I've been married for just under 5 years and two beautiful children from a previous relationship. They are boys, 11 and 13. And we are busy in our personal world. So they play football and baseball. And so we are always on the go all the time.
Fantastic. Now the garden and the kitchen. Do you use the garden in the kitchen?
Yes, I would say, okay, so I have an outdoor garden and an indoor garden, actually two indoor gardens.
Wow.
I fell in love with gardening about 3 years ago. Because I grew something for the first time. I actually dropped a seed on the ground in an area in my backyard and it grew. And I was like, oh my God, I can grow stuff.
Nice.
So I started by accident,
Uh-huh.
but with it, have a significant size garden outside, realized that I can't take the winter time when things don't grow. So made myself an indoor garden with grow lights
Okay.
set up. And so, yeah, so I garden indoors and outdoors. I grow fruits, vegetables and herbs and use them in my kitchen to feed my folks.
Yeah, I love it. That is awesome. We have a vegetable garden as well. It's a fun little hobby, but I like that you do one indoors. I may have to look at that. That sounds exciting.
It is my piece, Tim. It is my
So, Keianna, is there a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share today?
Yes. Okay. So I didn't know about entrepreneurship when I was a kid. My parents were entrepreneurs in a way. My father is a Grammy award-winning musician. And so he has been in charge of his career for all of his life. But when I was a kid in elementary school, my parents, you don't know if you remember VHS tapes.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so my parents had hundreds of VHS tapes, and we had the most VHS tapes than anybody in the whole neighborhood. And so I was watching movies on these VHS tapes that my friends didn't have. So they would ask to come over to watch these movies with me. And so I was like, okay, yeah, $5. I started charging my friends $5 to come over and watch these movies, and I would make popcorn, and I had my own little movie theater and didn't even really know that I was an entrepreneur at like 13.
That is awesome. So it's just in your blood.
I guess it's in my blood. I guess it's in my blood.
So tell us, how did the business come about, and at what point did you have the confidence that you could run a business?
Again, my story is windy. I always say I am on what seems like a never-ending journey. So I fell into the business. I was originally, my background is journalism, PR, bachelor's, applied behavioral science as a master's, and then behavioral science as a PhD.
Wow.
And so when I came to Indianapolis back in 2004, I was working at a PR firm, went through some tragedy, ended up, moving on from there, worked at a hospital in marketing and communications, worked at a college in marketing communications. And then I decided that I was working so hard at this college, and I had started a side business in PR, and I was working so hard, I was making just as much money in my side business as I was in my full-time job. So I asked my daddy, will you please let me quit my full-time job and try this side business full-time? And my dad has always really believed in me, and I'm so grateful for that. And he was like, listen, you're going to do it. Let's do it. So we did. We had a very viable PR firm. It was a lot of fun. We did entertainment PR. And then I met a man. Ain't that always how it happens? You meet. I met a man, and this man was brilliant. He was just very, very charming and smart. And he was a real estate investor. And he taught me about real estate, even though I didn't want to know. I became immersed in his business. He went out of town. He enrolled himself in this coaching program, a lot like yours, and he had to go out of town for a week at a time. So he asked me, when I'm gone, can you watch my projects? He would run 5 or 6 projects at a time.
Sure.
So I was like, yeah, what does that mean? What do I have to do? And he's like, just go there. Here's the scope of work, and make sure that they're on the right weeks doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I went to the first project, and I found the guys in the basement. I was calling for them, and I found them in the basement. I was like, what y'all doing? He was like, oh, I'm moving the plumbing. I was like, what, where, and why? He said, we're going to put the laundry room down here. I said, you can put the laundry room where? He said, here in the basement. No, women do not want their laundry room in the basement. You'll find somewhere upstairs for this laundry room to go. We went upstairs, and we were looking around, and he said, oh, here's plumbing in the powder room. And I looked across the hall, and the powder room was across from the kitchen. And I was like, we're going to move this too, because women do not want a bathroom across from their kitchen. Ew, no. So I did, and I did that a few times while he was gone, and I guess it never cost any money. So he never found out, and I didn't realize I was doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
Well, one time when he came back from a trip, it maybe been 6 months or 8 months, he was really angry. And he was like, hey, we need to talk. And when I went into his office, he had a bill for $3,300. And I was like, ooh, what's that for? He said, for a bathroom that you moved and a laundry room that apparently you moved and that you've been moving on all of my projects. And I was like, but they're selling. And they were selling quickly, and realtors were happy. And so he was like, okay, you have to go back to school. You can't be just willy-nilly moving walls. You need to go back to school and understand. I was like, bro, I'm not going back to school. I have a whole PhD. I'm not going back. So I did end up going back to school and getting an associate's degree in interior design. We ended up going our separate ways. I was bit by the bug. My mom and I started staging houses together. People would ask us about wall colors. And so we found ourselves, our staging company, becoming a full-on interior design firm.
Wow.
We hired our first employee back in 2017. And we just have been adding divisions to the brand as they were necessitated.
I love it. That's awesome. So tell us more about the company. What's the name? What do you guys do? How do you help people?
Certainly. So the company is Her LLC, and that is the umbrella company for Her Home Design. We do interior design, home staging, interior decorating. Her Home Design Build, we do architectural drawings, light commercial and residential construction. Her Home Design Boutique, we actually have a full-on brick and mortar boutique where people can come in and buy home goods.
Hmm.
And then finally her Home Design Academy, where we teach design build education.
Very cool. Wow, that is,
Huh?
yeah.
But it works. It
Yeah,
does. It,
it
it
all
all works
fits together.
together.
It makes sense. I love it. So that's the movement that I was mentioning earlier. That it's more than just businesses. So tell just quickly tell me a little bit more about that in terms of the story behind the story. What's the movement all about?
So you got to have a reason to get up in the morning. You got
Yeah.
to have a reason. And I always tell people that it's passion that keeps you going. This is a very difficult business.
Hmm.
If you are not passionate about what you do, you're gonna it's gonna eat you alive. We our company logo is a butterfly. And it's a butterfly because I believe in the value of metamorphosis. I believe that you can take something ugly
Hmm.
and make it beautiful, regardless of if it's your person, if it's yourself,
Yeah.
if it's your home, if it's your brain. You can take anything,
Right.
take it through a state of metamorphosis and come out beautiful at the end. And that is the premise of her.
That's awesome. Very cool. So you mentioned, that it's not always easy. We know that successful businesses can get stuck at various stages of their growth. So tell us what's been your biggest challenge in the past that you've been able to work through, and how'd you get through it?
Um, I I don't know that we've gotten all the way through it. I think our biggest challenge is human resources and talent
Mm,
and having the right people in the right seats on the bus.
yeah,
2020 really changed the game for
mm,
businesses, corporate, large businesses, but especially small businesses. And we have had to pivot and adapt and pivot and adapt
mhm.
because today's employee was not the employee of yesterday. So that's why I say I don't know if we resolved it. We are still trying to become what one of my colleagues calls a destination workplace.
Mhm.
So we're working toward it by being resilient, by recognizing that the things change and by adapting to that change. But I think that it's a never ending growth
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, I think the idea of change is the only thing constant is that it's going to keep changing, and we have to
Yep,
just keep adapting and do our best to stay ahead of it or at least caught up to it, right?
yep, yep.
So, Kiana, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit and ask you to pick three people in your business owner journey that you're most grateful for them being there to help with your business's growth. So, who are those three people and how'd they help you?
The first was my father. He's the rock. He he believes in me. He has the tough conversations with me. He I bankrupted our first business and he let me try again. So my dad, my mentor, David Short, who has been there with me since 2010. He's a nationally recognized real estate investor, and he has taught me parts of the business that I didn't know existed. And he tells me when I'm doing things wrong, when I'm doing things right, whether I want to hear it or not.
Yeah.
Tells me in a very raw and direct way that it's like, okay, you have my attention, sir. I'm listening. Last is my best friend in the whole world, Ray Proctor, who was my banker and became part of my family, my personal family, my business family. He he is literally my biggest cheerleader. When I am having a shitty day, he is the one that's like, "Hey, you got this." And it is so important to me because this is a lonely journey to have somebody like, hey, always in your corner. Rick is always smiling. It doesn't matter how horrible things are. He's always just like, hey, we're in this together. Even though he's not, he doesn't have to be. I always tell him, you don't work for her. But he's like the best non-employee we've ever had. And I really truly couldn't do this without him.
Awesome. It's you mentioned it can be lonely at the top. It's so important to have that network and that support because the roller coaster ride can be quite tricky at times, right?
Absolutely. Oh my God, a roller coaster ride it is.
Hey, the path to building a successful business has a lot to do with our mindset and the things that we learn along the way. So, what would you say has been your biggest learning as a business owner?
Pivot, the
Hmm.
pivot. You have to recognize a problem, recognize when something is not working, and change it. Too many people are afraid of what other people think about the way that they do things. And so they will consistently do something that's ridiculous and that they know is ridiculous because they fear judgment of change.
Uh-huh.
I, if it ain't working and it's broke, I will fix it and fix it until it works. And I'm a change maker like that.
I love
And
it.
so that's just love it or leave it. Some people have left it and good riddance to them.
You'll change it even if it costs $3,300 because it's the right thing for it to right
That's
place
right.
for it to be, right?
Because it's the right thing to do, because it's the right thing to do.
Yes, I love it. Hey, what's a piece of advice or guidance that you would give a business owner who's feeling stuck or discouraged or just stressed out about their business?
You have to have faith.
Hmm.
Uh, I know that that's a cliche. My faith is what has kept me in this thing since 2009. I believe that God did not bring us this far to leave us.
Hmm.
So if you do not believe in something, you will fall for anything. It is
Hmm.
very important. I would say, even if Jesus ain't your dude or whatever, you've got to find something, a higher power to believe in, to know that you are on a journey for a reason. There is purpose in the walk.
Yeah.
You've got to have faith.
Yeah, because there's times where things don't make sense, but being able to step back and go, okay, everything happens for a reason, right? God is guiding and directing me or shaping me or molding me, and I will come out on the other end better than I am right now. And my goodness, none of this makes sense, but it must all have a purpose and a meaning. So let's just go through it.
Mhm. Yep. Yes. That is exactly what I believe.
I happen to be a very impatient person, so I'm like, yeah, okay,
Me too.
yeah, can you
Me,
just do it yesterday, please? Because
right? Or can you explain to me what's going to happen? Even if it's not going to happen right now, can I just know how this ends? I'm that person that is watching a scary movie or a thriller, and in the middle of it, I will go online, Google the spoilers, and know what happens at the end in
nah.
the movie because I just can't wait till the end. My husband, it drives him crazy.
Now, do
He's
you
like,
continue
why do you do that?
you continue to watch it after you know?
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, okay. And then, I get my Scooby-Doo on and I'm trying to, solve it while it's happening, even though I know it's gonna happen.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, see, once I know the end, I can't watch it. I can't watch a movie more than once because I'm like, I already know how it's going to end. I can't do it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So you spoil the end for yourself, but you actually enjoy that.
I can't take the anxiety. It's the anxiety of the unknown that makes me uncomfortable to the
Uh-huh.
point that I'm also a control freak. And I'm like, hey, I can control this situation. I can go find out what happens and then I can brace myself.
And so, not liking ambiguity and being a control freak, you decided the best thing to do is become a business owner.
Yeah, I fell into it. I didn't decide it, decided for me. I didn't decide, and I have tried to run from being a business owner so many times, and God's like, this is what we doing.
As you think about the next year, um, I know the earlier question was what was a historic challenge? It might be the same thing. So let me change the question. As you think about the next year, what's the biggest opportunity or exciting opportunity that you see that you just haven't capitalized on yet?
So today I met with a really dear friend who was recently promoted into her first CEO role. And she said some things that really rocked my core today. She said, I asked her, what is the best part of your job? And this is a nonprofit. She said, my number two. She
Mm,
said, I have a number two that's a solid A.
yeah.
And while she's not an A plus across the board, she's a solid A in all the areas that I need her to be. That alone allows me to do my job without worrying about all of the minutia of the business. And I was like, it brought tears to my eyes. I think I've just become an emotional crier, but because that is what I'm going to do. I need a number two that I can rely on. That's an A in the areas where I need them to be. I am going to implement that yesterday.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest mistakes that a successful business owner makes is, in the beginning, there's all this stuff that we have to figure out, right? And trial and error and test and measure and right. And some things work and some don't, and course correcting and pivoting, and then eventually things start working. And if the business has been growing through that, typically what happens is the business outgrows the business owner, right? The business owner's capacity, the business owner's
Yes,
knowledge, the business
yes,
skills, and all they know typically is to just keep working hard and long, and eventually they'll burn out. Versus what you just shared, right? Is oh, now I have to learn to work smarter, right? And focus on scaling strategies instead of building strategies, and right, and it takes a lot in terms of retraining our brain and right learning new skills and figuring out how to get the right people and the right systems in place so that the business can run without us, because that's where, back to what you were saying, that's where as the owner we get to elevate ourselves and think about strategy and right and long-term planning and what's the next big idea and how do we 10x this business as opposed to just keep it the day-to-day running, right? And yes, we find somebody who can run the day-to-day for us and manage the team and the processes to free us up to think about what's next. So that's
you
awesome that you said that with you.
said that my team deserves someone who can be responsible directly for their development, for their personal development, their career development, who can free them to do their jobs. And she said, I don't want to be the person that jams them up because they're waiting on me and they're lower on my list because I've got all these CEO things to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, that resonated greatly with me. My staff deserves that too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if we think of, for people listening, if we think of, a traditional organization chart, right, there's a reason that there's a CEO and a president, right? Because the CEO should be thinking strategy, long-term planning, big picture, right? What's next, and an overall taking care of the culture, right? The president should be in the weeds, right? Managing the leadership team and making sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed and the execution is flawless and right?
And right.
And if we're trying to do both of those roles, we just get stretched too thin.
Yeah.
In the
And
beginning, right? In the beginning, we have to, right? Because
yeah.
that's just where we're at and what the business can afford. But as it grows, I think the stat is something like only 9% of businesses ever get to a million, and less than
Mm,
1% ever get to five. And
mm.
as that messy middle, that transition that's the significant change that's required to go from building to scaling. Most folks just they don't make it through that. They burn out before they realize that they have to approach it differently.
Yeah,
So
I am definitely in the messy middle. I am in the messy middle and I am feeling the pressure, stress, anxiety of God telling me, hey, it's time to do the next step. And I'm like, the time. Yes, my time. And so I keeps putting things and people in my path to show me it is time. I said go.
So why do you think that's important to take that next level, that next step?
I told my staff I have 2 years left on this lease in my building, and at the end of 2 years, I'm retiring. And they were like, wait, what? Why? I said, because I can't do this anymore. I can't do this like this anymore. I am a human being. I am constantly pouring into other people as a mom, as a wife, as a leader of staff. I am constantly pouring into other people, and I need this business to be able to at least make me somewhat happy.
Yes.
I if I can't make this work and make it work well, I'm just gotta. Well, who was the singer, the country singer who said you gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them?
Kenny Rogers. Yeah.
Kenny Rogers, yeah. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's either gonna work or it ain't, you know?
I love it. I love it. Yeah. And for those listening, there is another side to this. So, if you're hearing this story and you're feeling like that, let's connect offline because it doesn't have to be overwhelming and stressful and feel like you're having to do everything. It's just that the next step is different, right? And it's a big transition, and you don't do it overnight, but there are proven methodologies and processes that others have gone through that you don't have to stay stuck in overwhelm and feeling like you're juggling every ball. You can be like the CEO friend that said, yeah, become a true CEO and have your right hand person run the day to day. It is possible. So if you're listening, don't feel like it's hopeless because there is a path forward.
I'm looking forward to the path, to be honest.
So, Keianna, another question is, so folks who are where you're at, they're feeling that pressure and that stress. What are some coping mechanisms what advice would you have for people how do they, how would you recommend to them that they de-stress and manage the feeling of overwhelm?
I will tell you what has worked really well for me is connecting with colleagues. I don't believe in competition. So I will call up somebody who is doing what I'm doing and I will say, hey, can we get coffee?
Yeah.
I have had multiple conversations with my colleagues to just to just temperature check. Am I crazy? Is this just happening to me? Or what in the world? And I have been very fortunate that my colleagues like Jason Gedham, who referred me from Gedham Construction, who have been open to being like, hey, no, you're not crazy. This is happening. This is how I've dealt with it in the past. This is my recommendation. So I think it's important to connect to your colleagues and have folks who are doing what you're doing to talk to about it so that you don't feel so alone because like I have said multiple times, the journey is lonely and tough.
Well, it's a great segue to our last question. Jim Rohn, a great past business guru, one of his quotes was, "We become the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with."
Yes.
So, as you think about that, what advice do you have for business owners who are doing it all by themselves?
Be aware of the company you keep. You
Mm.
know, you as a business owner, a lot of people will tell you you can't do it. So many people have told me that I could not do it. Oh, you can't do it. You're not doing it right. I have had so much unsolicited advice from so-called people who care about me, who I just want to tell you to stop now while you're ahead. Again, I feel like God does not bring us to a place that he does not want us to be. And I have asked him every day, guys, like, you again? Literally, I've asked every day, if this is not where I'm supposed to be, close the door and lock it. And every day I wake up and that damn door opens. It opens every damn time. And so I'm like, okay, all right, we're doing this. So you commit to yourself and don't let other people tell you what you cannot do. Because I am that one that will do it just because. Can I tell a quick story? You got, we do
Of
have.
course, please. Yeah.
So my sons, this was the first year my boys 11 and 13 played tackle football. I had said hell to the no about tackle football. You got to get, and I mean, I set the bar high. You must get straight A's in order for you to play. And I just knew that bar was high. I mean, one of my sons is a genius. He's on the genius spectrum or whatever that is. I knew he might be able to do it, but my other son, he likes his fun too much. And I was like, he's gonna come home with his standard 3.5. Them boys got straight A's. I was livid. So what's that phrase? If you can't beat them, join them. So the first game I went to, I asked my husband and the kid's dad, I was sitting in the middle of them, and I said, how do I get down there on the field to see what's going on? And they both looked at me like, you can't get on the field. I want to know up close and personal what's happening. How do I get down there? They were like, girl, you're not going down there. Well,
What position did you get?
I found out that if you work on the chain gang, you can be right on the field. So I learned how to work on the chain gang. And 3 games later, I was on the field and I never told anybody. And they were like, I am that person that if you tell me I cannot do it, I will for dang sure do it, just to prove to you that I can do it.
That's awesome.
And my son was on the field and he turned around, he's like, Mommy?
Yeah.
Hey.
Awesome. Yeah, the friends who think that they're doing well, right, and advising us against it and looking out for us, right? They don't understand that they're not helpful at all. Right?
No, they don't.
Yeah, so I echo what you said is, to evaluate who are the people that we're letting in our life, what are the messages that we're getting from them, and are they supportive and encouraging of our path? Now, sometimes that's hard truths like you were alluding to earlier, but those hard truths came out of love and support, not out of fear, right? And so, yeah, it's important to know, like, our foundation, who are the people that are there to encourage us and motivate us and pick us up when when we get smacked and fall down, and make sure that we've got the right 5 people to help us through this roller coaster, because like you said, not every day is easy, and sometimes we get knocked down and we need a friend to pick us back up and point us back in the right direction.
That's right. That's right.
So, Keianna, it sounds like you've been blessed with some incredible people in your journey. If they were all here today, what would you want to say to them?
Thank you. Just thank you. Thank you for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. Thank you for always believing in me when I want to give up. Because again, sometimes you want to give up. Sometimes you are going to want to give up. I am just grateful, immensely grateful for those people in my life. And thank you.
Wonderful. Well, it's been a pleasure hearing your story today. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it today. Thanks so much, Tim. Great meeting you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show. Please help spread this movement by liking and subscribing to our show and following us on Facebook and LinkedIn. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Please pay it forward and be sure to tune in next time to the Self-Made is a Myth podcast.